Welcome to Fact or Freestyle.
People love Dave Nourie, and they always answer the phone when he calls. When we get him on Zoom, we ask him to confirm rumors.
Let's see how far down the rabbit hole we go.
That is awesome. Hey, how did you guys convince Mickey to ride that quarter?
Oh,
at half
that
pipe?
was all her. That's like a...
Rads. All right, Mickey. Oh, are you Mickey?
If you go on my Facebook page, there might be the full version of that. This guy, Jeff, who converted all my shit once to like video to DVD, put it on there for me. Mickey just showed up and was like, hey, I think I can ride. She saw me riding Gary's half pipe, just carving it. And she said it looked really fun. And she goes, well, if he can do it, I can probably do it. I'm like, sure you can. So I gave her my bike and she started riding and she fell once. And then Gary ran inside and got the form like you had to fill in case like was like brain damage and, you know, she was going to sue us forever. But anyway, she had fallen like 3 times really good. And then she did that one where she just like did the Miami hopper over the bars and crashed. And we were like the fact that we had that on video, like not only did she fall a bunch of times, but she was leaving to go to Chicago after that. And we stole the license plates off her car. She had a car and we took the front and back license plate off and she got into somewhere. I forget where she was. She might have like went back into Philly and she got pulled over and she called Gary and she goes, do you guys know where my license plates are? We're like, no, why? She's like, because my license plates are gone and I'm at the police station and I can't drive unless I can find those. We're like, we have no idea where they are. And we had those up until like Gary like moved out at one point. We had those license plates forever.
Oh my God.
Awesome.
That's classic.
Here's a story that you may or may not. I think you were there, but this goes back to where before I moved to California, before I went on tour or anything, I was friends with everybody through the AFA contest. And it was right when Ron had started the 2-hip. So me, Joe Johnson, and another buddy of his, TJ Fallon from the Boston area, we were going to drive down to DC and go watch this contest. Ray, did you go to that contest?
DC King of Vert?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I went to both of them.
We're in the hotel room. Somehow me and Ray and a couple other people, you know, he had Gary to hook him in and I had Joe. And we ended up in the Haro hotel room. And Ron was in the room and everybody was there. Matt, Brian, Volker, Bill Hawkins was there and all this shit. And we also had the tools in the room that Ron was using to build the ramp. So in the middle, like a bunch of dudes in the room, like just having an average good time, I decided somebody had a video camera and I decided to plug the skill saw in and I was running the skill saw at the camera. And then I can't remember who it was. I think it was Ron who turned around with a pillow and I went at the pillow with the skill saw and it just filled the room
everywhere
with the pillow stuff. And all of a sudden I'm doing it. We're laughing, having a good time. And I realize that everybody's quiet and I turn around and hotel security is in the room.
Let me finish the story. Can I finish the story?
Yeah.
Here. So listen. So Kevin's like, yeah, and it's dead silent. And there's like 3 cops just looking at him. And Kevin's got a wine cooler in his pocket, and he's like 19, right? So the girl like, all right, you just ruined this hotel. Like you're doing all this stuff. You got electrical saw, whatever. You're drinking, and they're like, you guys are going to jail. And so they pull Kevin out, and this is when Kevin had his like long hair. He looks like a little like a California stoner dude. And the cops were like kind of younger, like there wasn't like the old man cop, you know. And the dudes are like, all right, turn around, you're going to jail. I think they did cuff you? They had your hands behind your back. Yeah, they probably cuffed them. And Kevin talked his way out of it. He goes, look, sir. He goes, we're just here. We're a bunch of kids having fun. The wine, I don't even drink. Is there alcohol in that Sprite? What is that? A wine cooler? Okay, whatever. Sir, look, you were young once, and I'm out here having a good time. I'm trying to look cool in front of my friends. I thought it'd be funny. I got a little out of hand. And look, if you can forget all this, we're going to clean this up. I'll go downstairs. I'll pay for the pillow, wrap this all up, and you won't hear from us for the rest of the week. We're going to be gone tomorrow morning. And the guy just went, they looked at each other like, we don't want to write this up. All right, fuck it. They turned around and walked away, and they left. And that's pretty much how it happened. Like, I just remember going like, what's up with Kevin and the Jedi mind trick? Like, that shit really works. I'm like, he was going to jail. Like, they had him cuffed. And he said, you guys have been young and you're trying to have fun. That's all we're trying to do here. It's just a pillow. We can pay for that. No need to throw me down in the car.
It was a Jedi mind.
But this particular night, Missoula, Montana, and it's the year that it was must have been 87 because Sean Wilkerson was the announcer. Yeah. That's always how I can remember the years. And we're in the hotel room. We had invited some nice female companions over that we had met. And we're just hanging out. Brian was down in the van with one of the girls hanging out, and the door was a little bit open. And there was a cop car driving around and saw that the door was open and was shining his light in. And Blyther, of course, being Blyther, he closes the door and ducks down, right? So the cop car pulls up, opens up the hood and says, "What's the story? Who are you? What are you doing in this van?" He's thinking that he's broken in. The girl that he was with is like freaking out. And so they handcuff him and put him in the back of the car. And then they go to the manager and they say, "Hey, this guy says he's with this room number and he's part of this team. We just need to verify it." So they come up to the room and similar. We're drinking wine coolers. That's what you do in the 80s. And we got underage. This is Missoula, Montana. So I think the drinking age was 18. But I don't think the girls were over 18 in this situation. And it's me, it's Sean, and
I'm drinking wine coolers.
and a couple of girls. And
I'm drinking wine coolers.
And
I'm drinking wine coolers.
And we hear a knock at the door, and we're like, "Oh crap!" And we're like trying to hide all the wine coolers. They come in, and they're like, "Hey, yeah, we need to verify. There's a guy down in the van says he's with you. His name is Brian." And we're like, "Yeah, no, it's good." Well, they won't even give it. We have to go down there with him. So all four of us go downstairs.
Oh, I've got a good Bill Hawkins story.
Okay, go.
So you may or may not remember because it was public. It was me, Lee Reynolds, and Rick Moliterno, and Jess Darenforth. And Jess came in to finish half of the tour because Gratola left the tour. And so we had a good time. We dropped Rick off in the Quad Cities at the end of the tour, and then we were going to bomb her from the Quad Cities to San Diego. Like, that was the plan. So we're driving. Lee was driving the night shift, and first thing in the morning, like daybreak. So I was asleep in the back of the van, and Lee's got music on all night, and he's just driving, and I hear him go, "Huh?" I go, "What's that?" And he goes, "I think something's wrong with the trailer." And I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "There's a lot of smoke coming off the trailer." So I look out the back window and I look down and it's coming off the van. I go, "Dude, you got to pull over, man. Something is wrong with the van." And he goes, all right. So he pulls over. Now, Lee knew nothing about mechanics, nothing at all. And he, at one time, a year earlier, I asked him to put oil in the VW Bug I was driving. And when I came out, he was pouring the oil into the dipstick hole. Like, that's how little he knew about vehicles. And so here we are, sunrise. I mean, it was like pre-daybreak. He pulls over. We get out of the van. It's just me, Jess, and Lee. We pull out of the van, and I look under the van, and there is fire everywhere. And I'm like, "Oh shit!" I said, "Everybody get out of the van. The thing's on fire. We got to get away from it." And last minute, and so fire started to envelop the whole van. And so we reached in. I grabbed my briefcase that had some cash in it, but everything else was lost. And at one point, one of us suggested undoing the trailer. So we dropped the trailer on the ground. And when I went to open the driver door to put the thing in neutral to push the van into the ditch, the fire shot out in my face. That's how on fire the van was. But I got it neutral and we pushed it into the ditch, and we just stood there and watched this thing burn. And it had to be like a half hour before anybody came at all. And it was like, volunteer fire department came, the police came, and all that stuff. But at that point, there was like 50-foot flames coming off of the Haro van. It was done. So now it's sunrise. So the volunteer fire department, so the police are there. We have lost everything. We got what's in the trailer, but there wasn't much in the trailer because the door was broken off or all that shit. So maybe a couple of bikes. So the guy's like, "Look, we can take you to town and you guys can figure out what we're going to do. So we go to this little town. Now it's earlier there. So, or it's later there. So we're waiting for California time. Like, what are we going to do? So we're like, oh shit. So they put us in a Airbnb. We had no credit cards or anything anymore. Our driver's license, wallets, everything was gone. And so they took care of us and they gave us towels and stuff. And Jess didn't even have shoes on. He didn't get shoes out of the van. So we were completely stuck. And so we were like, what are we going to do? Like, how are we going to handle this? And I go, I'll make the call. So as soon as Haro opened, so it had to be like lunchtime where we were in Iowa. And I called Bill and I go, hey, Bill, same thing. I go, hey, Bill, how's it going? When are you guys going to be back? Tomorrow? And I go, well, there was an incident. And he goes, what do you mean there was an incident? I go, well, the van blew up. He goes, wait, what do you mean the van blew up? And I go, well, we were driving and it overheated and it caused the fire and it blew up. And he goes, okay, well, what's it going to cost to fix it? And I go, I don't think you really understand what I'm trying to tell you. There's nothing. They didn't even get water on it. They just let it burn out. And so it took 4 or 5 phone calls all day long for him to finally believe me. Like, he did not believe any part of it. He thought we were fucking with them. Bob called back at one point and goes, no, seriously, like, where are you guys? What are you doing? I'm like, Bob, we don't know what to do. And so we got on a Trailways bus to Dennis McCoy's house. And then once we got to Dennis's house and Dennis called, Dennis was the one that convinced them this really happened.
Really?
So then they were like, okay, well, you guys got the trailer off, so we're gonna need the trailer back. And we were like, we're not getting it. Like, at that point, we're 55,000 miles into this trip. And we're over it. We're like, nope, we're flying home. Get us back. Somebody else has to come get it. And Haro was always super cool, as you know, to deal with. Like, they never rattled. But there was a conversation that we had with Bill where he was like, look, I get it if you guys don't want to bring the trailer back, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's not a good idea to not bring the trailer back. Like, so we had to go back in a U-Haul truck with a couch in it. Like, we put a couch in the back and we went and got the trailer and then drove it back to San Diego. And to this day, Bob Haro thinks that we were smoking a joint and dropped the joint, which caused the van to burn. So what ended up happening was Lee, the genius, put it in low to get through some hills and never took it out of low. So the transmission just overheated and caught fire after like 5 or 6 hours of 8,000 RPM.
Oh,
And that's
crazy.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Because of the YouTube 15-minute limit, we had to break this into multiple parts. So click the link above to go to the next one. And I'll wait. It's all right. Probably reaching for your phone because you're driving. All right, time's up.